actually appreciate my route. I would say there is no one route that leads to the market in a community. So if you say what inspired your journey and you want to say, okay, it was this particular epiphany or this particular incident, it will be a lie. I would say it's a combination of a few things. I will just touch on 2 or 3 that majorly are important to my journey. First one will be my quest for independence. I'm naturally someone that wants to be independent. I want to do things. I want to live life on my own terms. While I was in the university, I belonged to a paramilitary organization which was pointing me in the direction of going into military short service after school. I had that door open for me, but I always don't like the regimented life. I don't like to be overly controlled and everything. So that eventually was the reason why I didn't go into through that part. So I always want to do things. And then that same thing is the reason why, even as a secondary school student, I said I couldn't work in the bank, because it's still the same regiment. You do the 8 to 5 and you are there, you can't move, you can't even take course. So naturally, there's something I say, people are made up of nature and nurture. By nature, naturally, I was not the kind of person that want to sit in one place for 8 hours and 10 hours doing the same thing day in, day out. So then by nature, I was exposed, which is the second thing. First, I've talked about my quest for independence. Secondly, by exposure. Secondly, I was exposed. Entrepreneurship sometimes is more of an experiential thing, something you experience, something you are part of, and then it just seeps into your DNA without even knowing. Okay, I had a mother who was a trader, which I was involved growing up, but that wasn't really a major eye-opener to business for me. I think the major opener, or the time I decided I was going to go for business, was when I went for my industrial attachment as a 400 level engineering student. I came to Abuja and I was living with my sister and the husband, and they were working for themselves. I love the independence, I love the time, and they were doing far better than any other person that was working that I know. And it was barely 10 years that they graduated, and I saw what they were doing, and I told myself, this is like the future. This is what I'm looking for. You understand? So then, going back to school, my final year, my immediate other brother asked me a very important question. Sometimes the questions we ask are more important than the answers, because the question leads us to the right answers. You understand? He asked me, what are you going to do after school? Then he painted a picture for me. I came from a family of 7, and 5 out of that 6 aside me, they started working, but they ended up being in entrepreneurship later. So he was asking me, are you going to run around that circle before you come back, or you decide what you want to do? So I decided in my final year, I was going to just go cut the story short and go straight into entrepreneurship. And I used to tell my friends that were serving together, I was not going to work for anybody, and they would try to counsel me, why don't you gather experience, why don't you gather capital before you go into business? But I was too stubborn to a fault that I channeled my stubbornness into going to the street. So that's the second thing that I would say. So that exposure to people that were doing well in business.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
I had other people that were doing well in my life. And so that abundance lifestyle has been something I crave for. I always say everything God created is in abundance. Scarcity is man-made. So there's nothing like scarcity in the realm of the spirit. There's nothing like scarcity in God's creation. So man created scarcity. So I never wanted to be limited to, oh, you earn 1,000 naira a day, you do this, okay, this is what you earn. So I wanted to have the opportunity to plug into the universe to attract the abundance that is God-given. And these 3 pillars were some of the things that drove me into entrepreneurship. Hope you got me.
Yes, yeah. This is amazing. This is in depth. Like you just summarized your life for us in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes.
Mr. Chibuzo, your net. I think you might need to. Mr. Chibuzo, I think you might need to change your position. Your network breaks from time to time. I don't know if it's on my end. Is it only on my end? Can anybody put something on the chat session?
Well, can everybody hear me?
But it breaks from time to time. I don't know if it happens to other people.
Okay. Let me change.
But we can hear you. We can hear you clearly. But just
Okay. I might just have to change my network. Okay. So my network is fine.
Okay, so let's go.
Okay. So I was saying that you basically just summarize your life for us in 5 minutes, and that is a wonderful expose to the kind of personality that you have carried into business. For some of us, like one of the things that you said that struck out to me that I can relate with is that early exposure. Your mom is a trader, and then somehow we don't know that subconsciously that is a seed in our head. Because my
Yes.
parents are both traders, so somehow that thing has an impact on us. And then we're just waiting for it to grow for the right time. Then we'll pick on it. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Like I wanted to follow up, on that question, and since you dived right into business, you dived right into it. Like you didn't want to go through the route of some of the family members that had to go gather experience. You dived right straight into it. I want to hear from your own perspective. What has been the two most challenging decision that you've had to make in a place of business, as in like you are caught up, and then like you have to make some tough decisions, either in like maybe, like I'll give an example. Somebody wants you to compromise to get a deal or something. What are the two toughest decisions in your own experience that you can say that this decision, they were tough for me? Can you share with us so that we can learn from that?
Having run multiple businesses and still doing that and work with I personally have trained, because of one of the business we do, interior. I personally have trained over 500 artisans. I think my training life actually started from practical before we moved into corporate training and then mentorship that we do now. So I have a number of challenges but I think some of the most notable ones will be challenges of if you say some of the decision, and we are not talking about business challenges. Let me talk about the decision that you have to battle with as a
Yes.
business person. One of them is let me just talk about it in business. Practically, this happened to me. Sticking to a business that you love, which is your passion, that is not paying your bills, or following the one that looks like money is coming from. As a young business person, sometimes we follow our passion. But when you become more experienced, sometimes you ask yourself, what's my cash cow? And you ask yourself, what's my goal of being a business? In trading, I always ask people, what is the goal? Why are you in business? Are you in business for profit or for no profit? As a young businessman, I didn't define this. So I saw myself leaving businesses or leaving money on the table, pursuing some big white elephant projects. So that was one major thing that I did. Then another one, which I will say today, and I advise somebody against it, because when you hear that I've registered over 10 businesses, not all of them were necessary, but it was because of the level of knowledge and information then. We were always in the money chasing business. So you think that this next one is where the money spinner is, and then you run into that, not knowing that, fine, every business has the potential to make you millions. But first of all, it has to do with the mindset that is running the business. Is it a million naira mindset or $1 million mindset? If you run a business, $1 million business with a 100 naira mindset, it won't scale up. So for me, I've talked about the first one, living what works, running for something else that you think you have passion for. Then the second one, majorly, which I also experienced, was leaving some businesses and just running to opening every new opportunity you see. I have a friend, maybe some of you in Lagos might know him. His name is Izu. He's a big consultant out there. And he will tell me then that you are blessed with a course. because every other market day, I come up with a new idea, I come up with a new business, and I think this is the next big thing that's about to happen. This is the next big thing. And then I kept moving from one to another. They move into security, move into energy, move into this. And at a time, thank God this is a Christian forum. Whereby we say, when I was a child, I think like a child, I talk like a child, I reason like a child, and I understood. But that is the wrong version. You can't talk before you reason and understand. So you say, when I grew up, I threw away childish things. So when I grew up in business, I understood that just because a business makes sense or it has potential doesn't mean it's good for you or it's right for you. A lot of us in this group now might be in that place where you just think that, oh, these guys don't know they are leaving money on the table. If I add 1 + 2 together here, I can make money here. But that business might not be for you. And in the end, you run into that, you distract yourself from the one that was working or you were building, and you go and start again from step one on the other one. So these are some of the major challenges and decisions that I had to battle with the first 5 years of business, doing something. Why it looks like you are getting close to it, but you don't know, because sometimes we see we see in phases. Like I always say, if God is taking you on a journey, it's like a book. It starts you from the introduction. Meanwhile, the ending is very beautiful, but you don't know. You have to follow through the journey. So, but sometimes you get to the middle of the book and you think this is not the right book, and you slip up to another. So that's the way you keep flipping until you find out that you are 40, you are 50, and you've not done one thing that is really worthwhile or extensively. So these days, I tell people the power of focus. Focus creates blindness. You become blind to those same opportunities that you think are the next big thing. The next big thing is you, not just about the business. You are the next big thing. You can make any business that you've invested yourself into become the big thing.
Okay. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I was going to, like while you were speaking, I was, like a thought came to my mind that also, like if you can share with us some of the good decisions you've made from the lessons you've learned. As in one, if you can share maybe one good decision you think that this is the best decision I've made.
Yes.
This
Okay,
might.
I think I have for me to still be in business, that means I've made a lot of good decisions, and I'm still pivoting. But one, I would say, I think maybe I might go beyond one, but I'll just say this because this happened just about 2 years ago. I had a partnership with a company that we are doing technical support for about 10 years, knowing when to transition, and because every opportunity has a lifespan. Every business even has a lifespan. Sometimes, before I answer, let me just make an explanation for people here to understand. If you were a radio mechanic or a DVD repairer some 20 years ago, you had a lot of customers. Right now, you hardly see people go to the market to buy DVD or to buy video machine player. So if that particular radio mechanic or electrician has not upgraded himself or pivot into something else, he will become obsolete. If the change happening outside is greater than the change happening in you, you become obsolete. So you need to change faster than the change happening in your environment. So for me, one of that thing we saw from 2010 to 2020, we ran this partnership where I train a whole lot of young guys. I have over 30 to 50 of them in my payroll. So we give technical support to other showrooms that sell some certain interior products. So when you buy from them, we're the one that do all the installation and all of that. So I train them and I deploy them, and we retain a little bit of profit, or let's say commission, from whatever they do. But after a while, we discovered that it became a stress point, and it was taking so much of our time. See, the value of money, it is when you relate it with time. Time gives legitimacy to money. If I tell you that he's talking to me, Chibuzo, I'm going to give you ₦1 million throughout this week. I want you to do a live session with me. You will say ₦1 million, average of 150 per day. You will pick it. But if I say I'll give you ₦1 million in the next 10 years, you are going to be doing this with me, you will ask me, how much is my rent for 1 year? So that means time suddenly made the 1 million irrelevant. So this business was useful 10 years ago. It was paying the bills. We were busy and we were happy. But after a while, we started looking as an organization. If we want to go to where we're going, I had a plan to retire at 45, and I'm very close. My retirement, if you want to ask me, I can explain that later. My idea of retirement is different from civil servants' own, but I already had that plan, and I knew that, okay, we are closer to where I'm going to. So I'm in the 5 years plan of my retirement. So, okay, I was before the 5 years, then that was 2020. So I told myself, okay, I can't do the same thing that we've been doing for these years. So we needed to terminate that contract so that the energy that we are investing, the time we are investing in those little money that were coming in, it was actually cash flow. It was good for my business, for sustenance, but we didn't just need daily bread. You know, that scripture says, give us our daily bread. So we did not need daily bread. We needed seed money for bigger things, bigger projects. So one of the things that we did right was to know when to close. And good enough, why was it a good decision? Why we were terminating that contract? COVID stroke. As at COVID time, that money, that business, that particular contract was us going into people's homes to do work for them. Now you can't even greet people talking of going into their homes. But because we've already transitioned from that, so we were in a better position when COVID lockdown came in, because that wasn't longer our major cash flow and everything. So that was one decision we made, and it was timely, and we're happy for it, because today we can make whatever we are making in a month, then we can make it from one job now, and we have less stress and we have more time for humanity.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Like I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot, because I know there must be something that should be in here for me to learn. So like if I'm to recap on some of the tough decisions you've made in your career, sticking to your passion, like against like there were some businesses
against what works.
Yes, against what works. That was a mistake.
Now, let me put a word in there. If you ignore data, you will pay for it. So as a young business person, we make our decisions based on emotions, not on data. So you must have your data to guide your decisions. What are the figures? What are the numbers? What are the other people doing this business? What is the turnover? So because it's not just about investing money. If I invest let me say $1,000, and in 6 months, what's my return? Maybe 10%. I always ask my people, I say, is there no other thing you can do with that same $1,000 that you have more return and have less stress? So it's about what's the greater value for your time and the greater reward for your money, and greater return for your money and greater value for your time and less stress. Any money that gives you so much stress, that's why there's some business I can't do. Thanks to people that are doing it, but you can't take 20 hours of my day and take 7 days in a week because I'm making money. No, it's not like that. So you have to consider a lot of
balance.
Factors and everything. Yes, there will have to be a lot of balance.
Yes, like I hope you guys are all learning. Please, I want to see your reactions. I want to see your reaction from all the things you've been learning. What are like I've been getting a lot of comments. People have been reiterating on some of the points that you've been making that is hitting them, and I like the fact that it's hitting. So that they say we are to learn from other people's experience. It's not it's not going to make a lot of sense as a community. We now have people that have this kind of experience, and then they're not sharing, and then we go and make the same mistake that they've made. So I'm happy that you're sharing with us. So like quickly, we'll go into for the sake of our time, we'll go into our third question of the day, and then we'll take some Q&A from our listening audience. So I want to just say to them that everything they are learning, if you have questions, be writing down. We'll have time to take your questions, and so that you can tap in from this wealth of experience. So moving on to my third question. Sorry, some of the comments are just hilarious. There are some of the things that you're saying and people are feeling attacked, like you are talking to them.
Sorry, I come in peace.
Okay. So for like on this part of your journey, on this your journey, you've learned a lot of you've made mistakes, you've learned from the mistakes, you have adjusted something. So judging by the ones that you've mentioned already, you were hopping on any idea that was available. You were sticking to passion against what was supposed to pay the bill. So like I know you've made there possibly have been some other mistakes that have been made, and like in the course of the journey. I would like to just phrase my question in this way, to share with us at least maybe complete this one you've shared with us, at least five mistakes that you've made, and what would be three business advices that you can give to business owners or aspiring or like aspiring business owners that want to grow their business. What would be three advices you give them to grow their business, and sharing with them also, like, additionally, what other mistakes you've made in the past that you think we can learn from, and what advice you can give them, being at the place where you are now, to say, okay, hey guys, I think you can do this and do this to help your business.
Okay. I'm naturally a progressive person, so I don't like looking back so much. So I won't dwell too much on the mistake, but I'll just talk on one more. Then I'll first of all talk about like three advices that you talk about. That's going to be more beneficial than just dwelling on my mistake, because most of these mistakes are corrected, especially like the one I'm talking about now. The location of your business. Now, there's this particular word, I've not heard it from many years, my own, I coined it, I call it PLP, that your person, your product, and your location, they are very important in business. What is the person that wants to do the business? That means your knowledge quotient and your knowledge of the business. Then what's the product that you want to sell? And then where is the location? So I had a very good business personality. I had a good product that was selling and the market was made, but I was in a wrong location in 2012. I think I opened a business for about 3 years. I'll just mention very funny figure here. I was doing between 300 to 700 sales from the office, the showroom, in 2012 so once in a while, I will have but aside what I personally market and all that, from the showroom sales. But in 2015, we left that location and we moved to another location. In 1 month, what I was doing a year, I did it in the new location.
Wow.
So it's like putting Sapin in a Zobo container, it will not sell. So if you have a very beautiful product and you have the wrong location, you won't sell. So that's my mantra. So that was a very terrible mistake. So I started, and the reason for that was always with the mindset of, I wanted to have a cheap rent. Let's start from, you must not start from somewhere that will not support growth. Just, it's better for you to plan and see. I said something in the last meeting I was sharing. I said it's better to be part of something that makes sense than to own the whole of something that does not make sense. So if you cannot start on your own in a place that makes sense, partner with someone. You can share a space, but it's better to be in a relationship or be part of something that is working, that makes sense, than to own the full thing. And that's a big problem with us in Nigeria. We don't like partnership. We don't like all of that. We want to be the CEO, chief executive officer of a flopping and a dying business. Is not necessary. 10% of $1 million is better than 100% of 10 million naira. So why don't you own 10% of a conglomerate and be part of a multinational than own 100% of one? Sorry, I don't want to say something before somebody say attack again. So
I think I think the attacks are necessary so that it will jump us to action. These are things that we need to hear. We stay and we feel like I've arrived. Oh, I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing okay. But where we're trying to go to, we need words like this to give us a push, and you feel uncomfortable in your seat and you be like, what am I doing here? So please, you need to ride on. You need to ride on those. You need to ride on. Can you hear us clearly? Can you hear me?
Hello, hello.
Yes, yes. I think I lost you
Were
there
you
for.
okay? Were you hearing me? I don't know.
Yes,
Was it
yes, yes.
me?
Yes, like we heard you up until the point where you mentioned that you don't want people to feel attacked, and I feel like you should
Okay.
attacking us.
Okay, so sorry, I said a lot of questions are dropping. When it gets to the question and answer, you just read them out and I will run through them. I don't want to go to the chat session so that it
Yes,
won't
yes.
distract the flow. So I'll quickly go to three important advice I will give. One is consistency. So I'll paint an analogy here. Imagine someone who has gathered weight over a period of 10 years and is on the plus size, and you go to the gym. The temptation to try to lose that whole weight in one day is there. You do all the treadmill and all the push-ups and everything. But what you've gathered for 10 years, you can't lose in 1 hour. So it's going to be consistency over persistence. Or you can be persistent and be passionate about it, but consistency is over persistence because you can't underestimate what you can do over a long period of time, but you can overestimate what you can achieve within a 1 hour or 2 hours. So my first advice to anyone here is consistency. Some of the business that you are doing that you think is not succeeding, another one is succeeding, another person is succeeding in it. So if you can do it long enough, you would have exhausted all the failure or all the failure options or all the negative options or all the mistakes that you could make if you do it long enough. There are some mistakes I can't make in my business now because I've made it over and over again because I'm still in the same spot where I am right now. It's like something they often say in my industry, oh, I'm going to give you another job. I just want you to do this one first. I said, no, I've done this one first for over 10 years. So this time around, I stick to, I know because when you're starting business, you are not even confident. Sometimes you can deliver something. But when you deliver it over and over again, you now have some level of confidence. Then you cannot build for it. Then that's consistency is very important. A lot of business people are not consistent. Let's take it to social media. We post. 3 days later, we post. After 1 or 2 months, we stop posting. A lot of people on the table here. So let me just leave 3 legs on the table and just remove only one. So it's the same. That's the easiest way to do that. How consistent are you? You told yourself at the beginning of this year, I'm going to do this, I'm going to fast, or I'm going to start working out. You do it for the first 3 weeks or 4 weeks and you stop. See, the truth is, it's better you take a schedule that you can do once a week and do it for 1 year than you do 3 times a day and then you do it for only 3 days and you stop. Then there's first of all, you will not start doubting yourself because that failure to stick to something makes you start doubting yourself. So you have self-doubt, and when you have self-doubt, there is no inspiration that will come from outside when within is already conflicting. So number 2 is putting in the work. They say there's no free lunch in free time. You have to put in the work. Putting in the work is part of what gives you confidence that okay, take me to anywhere. I used to have a mantra then that I tell my guys in Abuja and say, take us to Axel Rock, we'll be able to hold our own. Because we've done some things and say like there was a time my wife told me like, yeah, you are good at what you do. That's verdict. You hardly get compliments from your wife except if you want to give money. So she told me like she saw some of my work and like, guy, you are good at what you do. So it comes from the work, hard work. So you have to put in the work. Anything you want to do. I talked about 10,000 hours earlier. So you must put in that hour, whether in training. Okay, that leads me to number 3. So let's just say knowledge. So I will explain together. Number 3 is knowledge. If you know better, you will do better. You can't mess that up. Your level of productivity will be equal to your level of knowledge. And knowledge is from different knowledge is knowledge of the work, leadership, everything. Why I am here today is as a result of seeking knowledge. Last year, I went to Lagos for a conference. That's where I met my brother, who eventually has become a good friend and a brother. And that's how I got invited to speak on this platform. Because I spent my money lodged on the island. You know, Lagos people, you know, island is not smiling. Lodged on the island, spent the weekend there, attend the conference that I paid for, and everything. But that's knowledge. And today, meeting another 30, 40 people here is as a result of that knowledge that I went for. So knowledge in your business, seeking knowledge. The truth is, I often say, once you leave your home as a young man, no other person is out there to train you. Your parents are no longer in your life. So you might just be drifting, thinking you are growing if you are not consciously adding to your knowledge. So whether it's emotional intelligence, whether it's your technical knowledge of your business. So these are the three things: consistency, putting in the hard work. See, you know, we come up with this generation, we come up with this smart word, like we say, we work smart, we don't work hard. If you work hard enough, any smart move you make, if you work hard, you will still have more results than somebody who is working smart without working hard, because you will work smart after working hard and you will have better results. So whether you're trying to work smart or you're trying to, but you must put in the work, because even working smart does not mean you won't do anything. Technology is supposed to make things easier, but technology will not run itself. Okay, there's this new one, I'll just drop it down. Everybody's talking about artificial intelligence, AI. Okay, internet came, you are back, or programming came, you are not on it. Now AI is coming, you are still not knowing anything about it. Everybody's talking about ChatGPT, you have no idea what they are talking about. So how are you going to compete? What I tell my guys in mentorship class is that you are not competing with your next door neighbor, you are competing with a 30-year-old guy in Japan. Or what is a 30-year-old guy doing in Indonesia? You have to see yourself globally. That's only how you will know that you are so backward. See yourself globally. If you see yourself with the Mr. Tunde that is behind your house, or Mr. Chibugo, you think that, oh, I'm doing well. Like, if I have a Corolla, I'm better than him. Or at least if there's no light, I own my small generator. That is no competition. Think about what is a 28 years old, or no matter what your age is. Think about what is your age mate doing in China. They are owner of a multi-billion naira company. What are they doing in Indonesia? What are they doing in Singapore? That is what you should be doing. Go to Twitter Spaces, check what young people are doing that are CEO of TikTok and all of them. The CEO of TikTok, how old is he? So that's when you know that you need to put in the work, not to come and say, okay, I am doing well. Fine, we are content, but you shouldn't be satisfied.
Point, I think I removed all the leg in the table. I'm not sure we have the table again. I'm not sure we have the table again. And yeah, this is so powerful. This is so powerful. I've been so blessed by this. I've been so blessed by this. It's a wealth of experience, and I'm glad you are here to share with us. So quickly, I'm going to run and see, because I think there are so many questions, and since we have time, we'll just try to answer as much as we can. Let me try to. Oh, okay. They didn't. Please, for those of us that have questions, please let's use the question and answer feature on the video call, so that your questions can come in, so that it doesn't get lost, like within the chat. So Loma, you had a question. I think I missed that. I'm not able to see it again. Do you mind repasting that question? And for those of us that have questions, please, it's a good time to ask and tapping into this world, like this world of experience. There's
okay. Mr. Chibuzo, before the question come in, let me say one easy question that a lot of people ask, because I know this is a mixed multitude. There are people that are working, there are people that are not into business. Business is not just buying and selling alone. There are different forms of business. You can be an investor and still be an entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur even in your workplace, you understand? So there's this one word that people say. I just want to say it as a question before you start harnessing your own question. They will say, I'm not a business person. There's only one answer I will have to that. Unless you get it right, some people will never find their path. There are people's destiny that are tied to you getting it right. There are people's destiny that are tied to you getting it right, doing what you're doing. So while you are lazing around, asking yourself, I'm not a business person, maybe I'm not caught up for this, maybe this, or while you are thinking that you still have all the time, some people's destiny are tied to you. You must understand that. So I think everyone can be a business person. Everything we are today, we learned. When a child is born, you're only born with the fear of sand or noise, which is sand or falling. So every other thing you learn how to speak, you learn how to talk, you actually even learn how to fear. Because when you're born, you're not afraid of anything except light or except fire. So everything you learn. So if you learn how not to be a business person, you can learn it and relearn how to be a business person. So there are different kind of businesses that suit you. You might not run the buying and selling. You might do any other form of investing, but that's another day stuff. But everyone eventually is a business person. And then I will always say this word, it all ends in entrepreneurship. And many of us has parents that worked after 60 years, they now try to open a pure water factory or now started buying bus for Uber. So if it will end in entrepreneurship, why will you waste all your youthful life for
And
an
not start
organization?
early.
And in the end, you now come and start at 65 when you are all fact that it won't work. So right now, you can start thinking about that on the side while you are still working. That's even learning why someone is paying you, and you can do it until it becomes strong enough for you to depend on. So let's have the question. I think our time is running.
Yes, wow. Okay. Like I have a question here from Gini Kachuku. She said, what are the fundamental courses a business person should take before venturing into business?
Okay. When you say fundamental courses, it depends on the kind of business you want to do. But I'll break into two. One, there are technical knowledge, and then there are knowledge that will build capacity, which is your person. I'm talking about the mindset now, because a business do not fail is the mindset that runs the business that fail. I'm actually a mind coach, so I deal more on the mind. I try to let people know that it's who you are that reflects on whatever you do. So if you are asking me what you will learn, I will tell you, take courses that will build you as a person. That is one. Then you cannot take skilled courses, which are the technical knowledge. If you are in oil and gas, you know courses that are relevant to what you want to do, especially when you need certification. You do that. But no matter the certification, some of us know a lawyer. We all know a lawyer that is broke. I know a lawyer that is a millionaire. We know an accountant that is broke and an accountant that is a big auditor that is a millionaire. So what is the difference? One knows how to sell his business, his craft, because he's beyond that studying accounting or beyond studying law. Now they worked on their person, they worked on proposal writing, they worked on emotional intelligence, they worked on a lot of other things. So you build yourself. There are courses to build. Emotional intelligence is one of such courses. You understand? You learn all those mastery of self. Become the best version of yourself. Then also learn the technical knowledge of your field, because the questioner is big. I don't know the field, but with the field you are, you will know the knowledge that is needed and you know the certification that is needed. But all of that will not do you good if you, the person, is not developed. You are just going to make a mess of all the qualifications that you've gotten.
Yeah, so it's to develop yourself first, because if you come into challenges, it's because you've developed yourself that you'll be able to overcome those challenges. But if you don't develop yourself, you are likely fall.
There's a word my pastor always says. He says, work on being, not on having. You know, we're in the generation of having. I want. But with who you are, you will have. So if you already work on yourself, see, I used to say something to my wife, anywhere you take me to, I'm going to be. So because I've done this number of businesses, even if I did it while I was in Edo State, I'm in Abuja here, I'm doing it. If I go to New York tomorrow, I go to Lagos, I will still be successful. It might take a little time for me to understand the environment, because they will tell you that culture will eat strategy for breakfast. So once I understand the culture, I apply the right strategy, then I will know what to do in that environment. So because I have invested in myself over time, as an engineer, a civil engineer, an interior decorator, I have no business of going into coaching. But I went into that to develop myself. Now I'm building others. Even when I'm an engineer, I'm supposed to be in the hammer and nail business. Are you getting it? So that's what it is.
Yeah, wonderful. I have another question here from Ms. Suloma Obichere. So, Mr. Don, I understand you are a serial entrepreneur. I also understand the place of focus on what is working in business. How are you able to hold multiple businesses together? Are they all yielding equally? Where do you draw the line?
Okay. Yeah. I thank God I started from, it's not all rosy. Some of those businesses, we saw opportunities in them, and then we decided to invest. One of the things I like meeting people. I once told someone many years ago, if I was not in Nigeria, I might not be running business. I might have just been helping people set up business. I like it. So when I saw some of these opportunities, I picked one of my team member, I set it up, and I feel like, okay, you lead this department and everything. Not every one of them, nobody manages your business like you. Not every one of them have turned out as expected. But one of the things we started doing when we started looking at the data, because it's not just about holding business, and you are looking at this business fulfilling its purpose, is it meeting up with expectation? We started looking at the data, so we started cutting down. There are some that we've paused. If offer come, we still handle it, but we're not really marketing it right now, because when we were looking at our short term, we decided to say, okay, let's focus on what is working. So if your question is, how do we manage all of this? For me, I would say don't bite more than you can chew. Because the concept of diversification is not well taught. You don't diversify when your business have not grown taproot, when you have not developed. See, if you look at people like Elon Musk, they built a business. Tesla became a giant. So you moved into maybe the Boeing, the drilling company. That one I moved into SpaceX. From SpaceX, he's moving into Twitter. He didn't start all of them at the same time. If they would have made a success. So it's easy for you to replicate what you have succeeded to do. But when we all started and we're trying to, especially when you're in different industry, you'll be in fashion, you are in hospitality, at the same time, you are in construction, you will be, and sometimes my other sister used to say, you'll be making money for other people, because some other people will just run your business. Than Nigeria, I'm blessed with a couple of staff that have served me well. I have some staff that have worked upward of 7 years, some have done 5 years. I also have some, after 2 years, they went away. So in the same way, so if you have people that are faithful, keep them. That will help you, because you can't do it alone. But my own advice is build one at best, two, when they become so big. See, listen, good thing not they finish for market. That idea you think you have, if I don't do it now, somebody else will do it. Relax, you will do it better when you have more money. So the one you are doing now, do it very well. When it become fully mature, move on to that one, and then it will be easier to implement them, because it won't require your 90% time again. You just put money, put a marketing manager, put a business developer, everything will just be easy. It's just to speak to them in the boardroom and they know what to do.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think this is insightful, because I had a question that I wanted to ask personally, but I think you've touched on a bit of it, because that question will have been, how do you manage people? As in, I think people management in this day and time is something else as a business owner, because you are trying to keep the ones that are working happy, but you also have need to bring in more people and to get them to actually do the work. So how has managing people for you been in business, seeing that you have to manage them across different companies as well?
Okay, I'm happy for that question. I was on the call last week, and thank God for speaker last week, and he talked about something like this, and I was just nodding my head. For managing people, I think the first thing is expectation. When you expect so much, you'll be disappointed. So that's one thing. And when I started in business, I expect a lot, because I'm kind of person that go all out for you. Especially then when I started, my recruitment strategy was very wonderful. I pick out people from the streets, I was like a savior. That's the philanthropic part of me. So then, because of the much I have put into them, I expect them to give me 110% to reciprocate. When they started giving me the normal human face of it, and then I was disappointed. But after a while, I started using pure organizational structure. Like what he said last week, there are some people you will really miss when they leave. But I have, in the last few years, one of my staff that worked for me over 5 years, I allowed her to go in November of last year, because at the time I felt she was not growing and it was not helping the organization. And I told her, okay, at this point, I think you have to go. I couldn't do that. I think it's of recent I can do that. I couldn't do that some years ago because I was too emotionally fixated with my staff. So how do I manage people? Now, I let them know that the business is more important to me than the relationship they have with me. So if you want to have a relationship with me, let's have it outside the business. But if it comes to business relationship, don't treat my business with kids' gloves. So I'm taking my business seriously, because if I don't take it seriously, they will not take it seriously. So that is where it comes in. Let's not joke with business. We can joke outside business, no matter the relationship. And then when someone is ready to go, you cannot really hold down somebody who is not willing to stay. So have an open heart. From the day they come, you know that there's an entering door, there's also an exit door. So in between the process, You make sure you put structures in place to be able to handle the shock. That's just all. You can't do more than that. Even the biggest company in the world lose their staffs. So there's nothing you can do. People move from Amazon to Microsoft. There's nothing you can do about that.
I think that's the part I'm struggling with as a business owner to adjust to. I'm really struggling.
Yeah, when you involve in training, when you train people, and then imagine the staff you just paid rent for a month ago, and today he's not he did not even have the cost of writing a letter. He just stopped coming to work and he's not picking calls. It happens, but you try to make sure your recruitment process is a little bit stringent. You put laws there and say, okay, you must have this. So there are documents that will make it a little bit organized, but you will still have people that were wrongly trained or raised. You can't kill them. They are just the way they are. I'd say people are made up of nature and nurture. By nature, some people are Judah Iscariot. You can't change it.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think we still have time to take one more question. I don't know if there's anybody that has a question that they want to ask. Is there any raised hand so that we can take a question? Anybody that wants to ask verbally? So we can take a question verbally. Anybody? Anybody raising their hand? Okay. Okay, we can take Charis Touch. Her hand has been up for a while. Or I will take two. So I'll just take Charis Touch and I'll take hosted by Joyce. So you can unmute your mic and speak. Charis Touch, we are waiting for you to speak.
Oh, sorry, it was actually a mistake. I'm sorry about
that. Okay. So let's switch to hosted by Joyce. Raise the hand. Hosted by Joyce, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good evening.
So we can take your question.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. You mentioned we should reach out or look out for international businesses who are also into the industry that we are in. And you mentioned Twitter, but some of us are really not on Twitter or don't know how to navigate our way on Twitter. What other ways? Like, I'm an MC and I'm really, really looking forward to doing things that are unique in my space. And I realize that one of the ways is to actually look out for international MCs who are doing this. So what other platforms would you suggest or advise that I look out or probably probably check where I can see other people, because it's really hard finding people in this industry. I've been checking on YouTube, very, very hard. Thank you.
Okay. Let me quickly react to that. There are still some more hands that are up. So the truth is, every industry has platforms that you basically find them is to research, first of all. If you're in the music industry, you find out that music is more on Instagram and TikTok now than is on Facebook or Twitter. So every industry has, for someone who studies into MC and all of that, I think professionals, people who are into corporate events and all of that, most of them are on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has a form of categorization where it's easy for you to find such people. But that is when you are going through the social media route. But outside that, you can use YouTube, because everybody right now, they store their video data on YouTube. But the YouTube might just be a little bit tough for you to search if you don't know the name of these people you are looking at for. So fine, you can research the name of top people in your industry, international, on Google. But to see their content, you can go and look for them on YouTube. Then to see their profile, you can go to LinkedIn. That will give you a leg into that international space. And then another thing that happens is when you get 2 or 3 in that space, then you start seeing people that look like them, because when you're following one, you see some, they will make recommendation of people that do similar to that. So that just leads you from one door to the other. But I think those platforms, searching their names out, using YouTube on Google, using YouTube and LinkedIn, that will serve you better than going on Instagram to look for them.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. We're far gone on time, and I can see some hands raised. So, and I think I'm going to use this opportunity to to allow you to talk to people where we can find you. Like are there, like you mentioned about being a mind coach, are there opportunities that you have that people in this space can harness? Just talk about your products or things that you think that would, like that can benefit us.
Oh, okay. Not to say myself, but my name is Don Eugene. Is the same name on Instagram and Facebook. I post some of my very few content on Instagram, but I'll do more. Then I have a mentorship platform, which is Mentorship Hubnet. It's also on the Instagram. I think my executive assistant is on the call. He will post my Instagram handle on the chat section. I saw someone asking for WhatsApp number. You can speak with the admin of this group, Mr. Willett, or the admin. If is appropriate for the guideline of your community, they will connect my number with you. So we follow principles. So if it's appropriate, they will give you the number. But on my socials, Facebook, Instagram, Facebook and Instagram, you see Don Eugene. We run trainings from time to time. You see some of our training come up there. My books, I think they're on my link. I have 200 business I am affirmation. This basically because what we say is very important. There is a research that I saw that the mind process 100 words per minute, but it processes 400. It processes 4,000 thoughts per minute. So if you think your business or your life, how you think about it, your mind process it 4,000 times for the words you say. So when we talk about the 200 business I am affirmation, first of all, is what you think in your mind that we will say at. So one of my favorite scripture is Proverbs 4:23, which is talking about guide your heart with all diligence, for out of it. So I'm very big on what is in your heart, what you think, how your mind thinks. So I have a book on that. Then I have a business book, which is guides playing to win as an entrepreneur. I think the link is on my Instagram bio too. You can get it on Stella if you want. If it's a hard copy, if you reach out to us on DM, we can read it to you also. So that's that basically. I think our time is fast spent, but if I will add anything to it, it will be that my last word. What I said earlier, work on being, not on having, because with who you are, you will become. So that's as simple as it is. And then for CEO and business people, also know that the discipline of keeping money is more than the discipline of making it. A lot of us are all about make. I made that mistake. You're talking about mistake. I think I should end with that. I made that mistake at the early part of my life. I have some windfall, some millions will come, and you think that the way they came, this time they will come tomorrow. It doesn't happen like that. So the discipline of keeping money is more important than the discipline of making. So while you are pursuing to make the one that comes, how do you keep and invest it is very important. Because after a while, you might need to transition, you might need to scale up. And if you don't have money to do that, you run an obsolete and a dying business.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for being in our midst today. We are so grateful. We're so grateful. Please, let's appreciate our speaker once more. Let's appreciate him. It's been a lot of knowledge he has deposited here with us. And I made some notes. I made some note of some things that I'm going to be making some changes on, some things that you have shared that are quite insightful to me. Thank you so much for being a part of us today. We really appreciate you coming. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm grateful. Thank you, Mr. Willie. Thank you for this wonderful, amazing group. God bless you.
Thank
God
you,
bless
Mr.
your
Don.
pastor. Thank you for this platform. I'm grateful for everyone. You can follow me on Instagram, please. I'll follow back.
Yes.
Thank
We'll
you all.
sharing,
God bless
like we'll be sharing your details in the group, and then everybody
Okay.
can pick it up from there. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
So
sir.
we're moving on, and we're handing the floor over to Grace to go to take our announcements.
Okay.
To take to close.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Don. Again, it was amazing section. I really got value, and I want to encourage everyone to please share the CEO journey every Thursday to our friends and family. I mean, knowledge is power, and we need this for our business to go to the next level. Share it on all the social media platforms. We're encouraging you all to participate next week, same Thursday, same time, and we hope you get value after the section. That's all. Then for our dues, please, if you are still owing, we need your money. We need you to pay our dues. We need our pockets to keep running. Yeah, I think that's all. That's all. Have a lovely night, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely night.
Have a
Good night.
lovely night.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a lovely night.